The shirt has been sitting in your laundry basket for a week because you do not know what to do with it anymore. Actually, it is not dirty, and then you washed it. You have washed it a dozen times. But the collar is yellowed, the underarms have gone gray, and the fabric that used to be crisp and bright now looks like something a person pulls out of a box at a church sale. You keep buying new white clothes because the old ones look tired and the new ones turn on you within the season. Here is what that costs you, not just the shirt, but the pattern. A decent white cotton shirt runs $20, $30, $40. White towels, white pillowcases, white kitchen rags. It certainly adds up fast. And if the thing you have been using to fight the yellowing is bleach, the damage is already deeper than the stain. Bleach does not save white fabric. Bleach simply borrows against it. Every time you pour it in, the fibers break down a little more, the weave loosens, and the fabric goes gray underneath in a way that no amount of washing ever fully reverses. The yellowing comes back faster each time because the cloth itself is weaker. Then you end up buying new things sooner than you should, and the cycle starts again. There's a way off that wheel, and it costs less than $4 at any grocery store. People used to keep white things white for decades. Work shirts, Sunday linens, the good cotton. It stayed bright through hard use and hard seasons, and nobody in the hollow where I came from poured a chemical down the laundry tub to do it. My name is Annie Hemingway. I spent the first part of my life on a Blue Ridge Mountain homestead where the nearest store was a long drive and the laundry came out of a basin on the back porch. What went in the wash was what we had. Things from the kitchen shelf, things from the garden, and common sense passed down from my mother and her mother before her. Keeping fabric white without ruining it was not a mystery out there. It was just Tuesday morning. I have been doing laundry the old Appalachian way for over 50 years, and my whites have outlasted every bottle of bleach this industry has ever tried to sell me. If that kind of keeping, holding on to things, making them last, getting more out of what you already have is something you want more of, go ahead and subscribe. There is a good long run of this ahead of us. Drop something in the comments for me, too. Tell me the worst white thing you have ever tried to save. A shirt, a towel, a set of sheets, and whether you managed it or gave up. And where are you watching from? I read every single comment that comes through. There's a handbook I put together with the full run of what I know about homekeeping the old way, cleaning, storing, maintaining, all of it gathered in one place. You can reach it through the code showing on your screen right now, or the link sitting in the description. I will not mention it again, I promise you that. However, that is not why we are here today. We are here for one reason and one reason only, to get your whites white. So let's talk about what bleach is actually doing, because once you understand it, you will not go back to it. Bleach is a chemical called sodium hypochlorite, and you do not need to remember that. What you need to know is what it does to the molecules that give fabric its color, or in this case, the molecules that have built up on the fiber and are giving it that dingy yellow cast. Bleach breaks those molecules apart very effectively. That is the only thing it does. It does not clean the fabric at all. It does not remove the buildup. It destroys the color of the buildup, which is a very different thing, and it does not care whether the molecules it is breaking apart belong to the stain or to the thread itself. White cotton is white because the fiber reflects light evenly. Every time you introduce bleach, you slightly damage that fiber's surface, the same way you would scratch a mirror. The mirror still exists right there. But the reflection is not as clean. Do this enough times, 2 dozen washes, 3 dozen, and the fiber has been compromised at a level you cannot see until suddenly you can. And the white turns gray. Not yellow, not stained, gray. A flat, washed out gray that tells you the fiber has been eaten from the inside. No amount of washing or soaking or sunning will reverse that because the damage is structural. The cloth is gone even though the cloth is still there. The yellow staining that drives people toward bleach in the first place is almost never a dye problem. It is actually a residue problem. Body oils, dead skin cells, deodorant compounds, particularly aluminum-based antiperspirants, bond to the fiber and oxidize over time. That oxidation is what you are seeing when you look at a yellowed collar or a gray underarm patch. The fix is not to destroy the color of the residue. The fix is to dissolve the residue and lift it free. Bleach cannot do that, I'm afraid. Bleach just masks it briefly while quietly weakening the cloth that is supposed to outlast the problem. The old women in our hollow did not have bleach, and their linens lasted longer than anything you will buy today. What they had was an understanding of what the residue was made of, oils and minerals and the particular chemistry of hard work, and they used simple materials that could actually cut through it rather than paint over it. That is where we are going. There are exactly 4 things, all of them sitting in your kitchen right now or available for under $4 if they are not. Baking soda, white vinegar, lemon, and the oldest whitening agent any homesteader ever had, the open sky on a sunny afternoon. Each one does a different job on a different part of the problem, and together they do what 50 years of bleach advertising never could. They get the residue out, restore the fiber's ability to reflect light cleanly, and leave the cloth intact enough to last another decade. The yellowing did not happen overnight, and the fix is not a 5-minute pour and rinse. Give it what it asks for, and you will not recognize those linens by the time you fold them. Go ahead and pull out the worst offender in your laundry pile. The shirt that has been sitting at the bottom because you do not know whether to wash it again or give up on it. That is the one we are starting with. The first thing you are going to do is a baking soda soak, and you are going to do it the night before you wash. Please, not 10 minutes before you wash. You must do it the night before. This is the step that people skip because it feels slow, and it is exactly the step that makes the difference. Fill your sink, or a basin if you have one, with the hottest water your tap will give you. For a standard kitchen sink, you want half a cup of baking soda. Plain baking soda, the kind in the orange box, under $2 at any grocery store. Stir it through the water until it dissolves. Then put your white items in and push them down so they are fully submerged. Simply leave them there in the basin, and then go to bed. Let the water do the long, slow work that a 30-minute wash cycle never can. What is happening in that basin overnight is not complicated. Baking soda is what chemists call alkaline. Mildly so, gently so, nothing that will harm your hands or your fiber. Body oils and the oxidized residue sitting in the weave of your fabric are slightly acidic in nature. When an alkaline solution surrounds them for long enough, it begins to loosen their hold on the thread. It does not break the thread, and it does not strip its surface. Loosen the grip of the thing that is not supposed to be there. By morning, a good deal of what has been bonded into that collar for months will have softened and released into the water. And when you lift the fabric out, you will already see the difference in the water's color. Wring the items gently and put them straight into the wash. Wash them in warm water, not hot. You have already done the heavy work with the soak, and hot machine water at this stage can set any remaining loosened residue rather than rinse it out. Use regular detergent on a normal cycle. The soak did the actual whitening. The machine is just doing the rinsing. The second thing happens in the rinse cycle, and it costs almost nothing. White vinegar goes into your fabric softener compartment, or straight into the drum at the start of the rinse if your machine does not have one. Half a cup per load is all you need. Please, no more than that. Vinegar is acidic, which means it does the opposite job from the baking soda soak. Where baking soda loosens oily residue, vinegar cuts through the mineral deposits and soap buildup that sit on the fiber and trap that flat gray dullness. Hard water leaves calcium and magnesium behind in fabric every time you wash. Regular detergent leaves a film if the rinse is not thorough. Layer those things over a dozen washes and the cloth stops reflecting light the way it should. Vinegar dissolves that mineral film and strips the detergent residue, and when the fiber is clean all the way through, it reflects light evenly again. That is what white looks like. Not bleached, not processed. Just clean fiber doing what clean fiber does. The other thing vinegar does is soften. Not with a coating the way commercial fabric softener does. Fabric softener works by leaving a layer of lubricant on the fiber, and that layer traps residue the same way a dusty shelf traps dust. Vinegar leaves absolutely nothing behind. It rinses out completely, and the softness you feel afterward is the natural softness of a fiber that is no longer stiff with mineral buildup. Your clothes will not smell like vinegar when they come out. The smell rinses away entirely. If you have never tried this and you are skeptical, wash one load with it before you decide. The third thing is for the stains that are already set. The yellowed collar, the gray underarm patch, the ring around a cuff that has survived 100 washes unchanged. Rub that paste directly into the stained area with your fingers. Fresh lemon is better if you have it, but bottled lemon juice from the grocery store works fine and costs under $2. Rub that paste directly into the stained area with your fingers. Work it in. Do not be delicate about it. Work it hard. Do not be delicate about it. The salt acts as a mild abrasive, helping to physically break the surface of the buildup, and the lemon juice, which is citric acid, works into the loosened residue and begins to break down the oxidized compounds that are giving it that yellow color. Leave the paste on the fabric for 30 minutes. If the stain is old and stubborn, leave it for an hour. Do not let it dry out completely. If it starts to dry before the time is up, dampen it with a little more lemon juice and work it in again. Then put the item straight into the wash without rinsing the paste off first. Let the machine rinse it out as part of the cycle. The citric acid keeps working until the water carries it away, and that extra time in the drum gives it one last pass at the stain before it goes. This paste is the thing my grandmother used on the work shirts that came off the mountain after a full week of hard labor. She made it fresh every wash day on the back porch in a little clay bowl she kept near the basin. She did not think of it as a stain treatment. It was just what you did with a collar before you put it in the wash. The shirts lasted 30 years. The fourth thing is not something you buy. It is something you step outside and use. After your whites come out of the wash, do not put them in the dryer. Hang them outside in direct sunlight. If you do not have a clothesline, drape them over a clean porch railing or a folding rack set in the sunniest spot in your yard. The ultraviolet light in direct sunlight is a natural whitening agent. It breaks down the same kinds of oxidized compounds that cause yellowing gently and without damaging the fiber underneath. The heat of the sun also helps to finish evaporating any last trace of residue that the wash lifted but did not fully expel. If you want to push this further, and on a particularly stubborn item, it is worth it, dampen the item lightly with diluted lemon juice before you hang it. 1 part lemon juice, 2 parts water applied with a spray bottle or a wet cloth. The citric acid amplifies the sun's bleaching action. The two things together, the acid and the light, do what bleach pretends to do but without touching the fiber structure. Leave the items out for 2 to 4 hours on a clear day. The brighter and more direct the sun, the shorter the time needed. Now, a word about what these 4 methods will not do, because that matters more to me than making them sound like magic. If your fabric has already been heavily bleached over many years and the fiber is genuinely degraded, if the cloth feels thin, tears easily, or has that particular papery texture that comes from long chemical exposure, nothing in this kitchen pantry is going to restore it. The damage is structural. It is a permanent change to the fiber that cannot be reversed. The honest thing to do with fabric at that stage is let it go. Use it for rags, use it for the garden, but do not expect whitening to fix what bleaching destroyed. These methods work on fabric that still has integrity. They preserve and restore. They do not perform miracles on cloth that is already gone. And if your yellow staining is coming from rust, iron pipes, old washing machine drums, well water with high iron content, lemon and baking soda will lighten it but probably will not eliminate it. Rust staining needs a purpose-made rust remover, and that is a separate conversation. Check whether your water is high in iron before you assume the yellowing is residue-based. In most homes with city water, residue is the culprit. In homes on well water, especially older wells in mountain or rural areas, iron is worth ruling out first. The baking soda soak, the vinegar rinse, the lemon paste, the sun, used together and used regularly, they will keep cotton white through years of hard use. But they need time, and they need repetition. Fabric kept this way does not get treated once and stay white forever. It gets treated well and kept well, and it lasts because of that. Ask yourself who benefits from the fact that you did not know any of this. The bleach industry in this country is worth billions of dollars a year. The fabric softener aisle is worth billions more. The stain treatment sprays, the whitening boosters, the color-safe this and oxygen-powered that, every one of those products exists because the problem they claim to solve keeps coming back. And it keeps coming back because the products themselves are part of what causes it. Bleach weakens fiber and accelerates yellowing. Fabric softener coats thread and traps residue. The stain treatments work on the surface and leave the underlying buildup untouched. You buy the product, it half works. The problem returns, you buy more product. That is not a cleaning system. That is a subscription you never agreed to sign up for. It is not that anyone sat in a room and decided to deceive you. It is simpler than that and in some ways harder to fix. The chemistry that makes bleach feel like it works, the immediate brightening, the sharp, clean smell, the white that comes out of the machine looking almost right, is real enough that you trust it. And by the time you notice the slow degradation, the graying, the thinning, the way the whites never quite recover after a year or two of regular bleaching, you have already been in the cycle long enough that it feels normal. You think the fabric just wears out. You think that is how it goes. You replace it and start again. Nobody profits from telling you to soak your shirts overnight in baking soda water. Nobody makes money when you spray diluted lemon juice on a collar and hang it in the afternoon sun. The grocery store sells you a box of baking soda for under $2, and that is the end of the transaction. Compare that to what you spend on bleach and whitening products in a single year. Most households go through several bottles at $3 to $6 each, plus the fabric softener, plus the boosters. And the arithmetic is not subtle. The old way is not a sacrifice. The old way is just money staying in your pocket instead of going down the drain. My mother understood this the way she understood most things about keeping a house, not as a theory, but as a fact of life that had been handed to her already proven. She was a small woman with strong hands, and wash day on our homestead was not a gentle occasion. We had the boys' work clothes, Daddy's field shirts, the kitchen rags, the good linens that came out twice a year, and all of it had to last because there was no budget for replacing what could be maintained. She kept a mason jar of white vinegar on the shelf above the wash tub. She had a cloth bag of dried lavender hung nearby, not for the laundry exactly, but because she liked the smell while she worked. Every wash day before the items went into the water, she would go through the pile and check the collars and the cuffs. The ones that needed attention got the lemon and salt treatment, rubbed in by hand, the same way her own mother had shown her. She did not call it anything. She did not think of it as a method. When summer came and the sun stayed long and strong, she would hang everything outside after the wash and leave it there half the afternoon. She knew, the way the women in our hollow all knew, that the sun finished the job the water started. She did not know the word for ultraviolet light. She knew that linens hung in July, sunlight came in looking different than linens hung in the shade, and that was enough. Those sheets lasted longer than I can account for. The work shirts came through seasons of hard mountain labor and still held their white well enough to wear on a Sunday. When she finally handed the household to me, nothing went into the rag pile that had not genuinely earned it. So here is the plain list of what you need and what you do with it. Baking soda, the plain kind under $2. The night before wash day, fill your sink with the hottest tap water you have. Dissolve half a cup of baking soda in it and soak your white items overnight. Wring them out in the morning and run them through a warm wash cycle with your regular detergent. Half a cup goes into the fabric softener compartment or directly into the rinse cycle. Do this every time you wash whites. Not occasionally, every time. Lemon juice and plain table salt, mixed into a paste and work directly into any yellowed or stained area before the wash. Leave it on for 30 minutes to an hour, then put the item into the machine without rinsing the paste off first. White vinegar, plain distilled, $1.50 or less. Half a cup goes into the fabric softener compartment or directly into the rinse cycle. Do this every time you wash whites. Not occasionally, every time. Lemon juice and plain table salt. mixed into a paste and work directly into any yellowed or stained area before the wash. Leave it on for 30 minutes to an hour, then put the item into the machine without rinsing the paste off first. Fresh lemon is best, but bottled works and costs under $2. Sunlight, free, and the most powerful whitener in this whole list. After the wash, hang your whites outside in direct sun for 2 to 4 hours. If you want to push it further on a stubborn piece, dampen the fabric lightly with 1 part lemon juice to 2 parts water before you hang it. The combination of the acid and the direct light does the rest. These 4 things used together on a regular wash cycle, rather than as a one-time rescue. That is the whole system. Costs under $4 to get started if you do not already have these things on your shelf, which most kitchens do. Maintains itself from there for pennies per load. The residue came in layers over time, and it releases in layers the same way. Give the baking soda soak 3 or 4 wash cycles on a badly yellowed item before you judge it. Patience here is not a virtue. It is just how the chemistry works. The subscribe button is worth hitting if you want to keep going with this. One more question for the comments before you go. Have you ever had a whitening trick that actually worked? Something a grandmother told you, or something you stumbled onto yourself? Drop it below. There are old methods for almost every corner of a home. Mold, pests, energy, food keeping, the things that cost money every month when you do not know the old answer. And this is where they live. The best knowledge in these comments has always come from the people watching, and I would not trade that for anything. The next thing worth knowing is about mold, not the dramatic kind that fills a whole wall, but the quiet kind that starts in a corner behind a piece of furniture along a window sill in winter. The next thing worth knowing is about mold, not the dramatic kind that fills a whole wall, but the quiet kind that starts in a corner behind a piece of furniture along a window sill in winter, the kind that is already there before you see it. What the old homesteaders knew about stopping it early with nothing from a hardware store is worth its own conversation. Your grandmother's linens lasted because she treated them like something worth keeping. Treat yours the same way, and they will outlast anything the store is selling today.